So much developer time and taxpayer money goes into experimental weapons, and it would be laughable looking at some of them if it weren't so disgraceful. We all know the most famous example of the gay bomb. A bomb jam packed forward with aphrodisiac gas that would, in turn, for some reason, turn those in the blast radius homosexual or give them homosexual urges, which I have no clue how they thought that would help in any way. But you also have the CIA's experiments with LSD darts or other hallucinogenic darts, but those you can reason with. There are even weirder ones. The Sun Gun, which was basically a proposed giant mirror that they would put up refracting the light from the sun to burn a city, but science doesn't work like that. And, they didn't kind of realize that on the first thing round. They were like, this is logically impossible. They didn't test it, but they went through with the proposal and they gave this thing money, despite the fact it went against the laws of physics. Laser-induced plasma channels, because normally exploding a person is just way too subtle. They needed to develop a way to harness direct energy to melt the human or the vehicle or whatever, because just good old casualties aren't good enough. And this is one that they have actually put a lot of money into, actively. And you watch some of the test videos and it's just bizarre. It is literally impacted plasma. What is the need for this when I'm not advocating blowing up a human, but in the case, why does this need to be done when you can literally just blow up the human with, your bog standard artillery, which is in of itself already too deadly? Another one is similar to the LSD ones, but is much more in conspiracy theory territory. We kind of know that it was being done, but we don't know to what extent, and people would say it's being done a lot more still, and people would say it's not being done anymore, but it was being done or whatever. But that is attempts at subliminal messaging in sort of feeds of people in areas of conflict. They hijack the news radios or whatever, and they sort of feed these little tiny things. Or, the more conspiracy ones are they have these things that from a young age are attacking our children within the films and the toys and whatever, which I am not entirely sure of that, but it's something lots of people think is happening, and it definitely was, considered at a time. So that's why I just mentioned it there. The next, kamikaze bats, which, if you can't tell from the name, was bats strapped with explosives sent on suicide missions. Pretty self-explanatory. I don't know why bats were chose out of anything. I want to see the logic there, because, I understand how a bat can kind of get in unnoticed and stuff, but really, I don't even know. And the last one, Russia's favourite, which Russia definitely aren't doing. No, we're not doing that one. They never did, and they won't ever, and they definitely discontinued it in 1999. Nerve agents, things like Novichok or VX or, the millions of other undisclosed breeds that they definitely don't have and that definitely don't exist, and they definitely have never used on foreign soil. Those ones which, directly attack the central nervous system, inflicting some of the worst pain and most brutal symptoms of death, such as, internal bleeding instantaneously, foaming at the mouth, eyes literally imploding, skin welting, it's not pleasant. And they're so subtle, like sarin. Sarin is completely unnoticeable unless it is in a high concentration where it just looks like a weird, piss puddle. And it just decks you in minutes. Yes, so just know that these things have been considered to be put in the world and or are actually in the world, being paid for by taxpayer money and having some of the greatest scientific minds put towards them. Sleep well at night knowing this. Also, yeah, you're probably reasonably close to a nuclear weapon, so even if these aren't scary enough, that should be scary. So, yeah.